You and Eric Schmidt, the chairman of Google, recently went to North Korea. What do you think that your trip accomplished by heading to the one country that is the most closed off to the whole world?
Well, the first thing I want to say is, can I come to the Jessica Alba? Thank you very much to the Hudson Society. I really think it's great that there are groups like yours of intellectuals that care about foreign policy, that care about policy. And so I'm delighted to be here, although your speaking fees leave a lot to be desired. All right, so what did our trip accomplish? It had modest results. Obviously, if you heard what the North Koreans said today, you'd say, boy, you guys didn't do too well. One, they announced that they're going to utilize possibly a nuclear option against the U.S., which is part of their rhetoric, but it's a little too intense now that I've heard more than ever before. Secondly, they've rejected what are called the six-party talks with our countries in the region. Third, they're very angry at the sanctions that the UN passed today. And the reason these sanctions are important today, past sanctions, I was a UN ambassador, they don't do much. But this one is two reasons. One, China drafted them. China, for the first time, is ticked off at North Korea. They've never helped us with North Korea, but this time I think they feel that their nose was thumbed. And what the sanctions do is, whenever you read about sanctions, economic sanctions, they don't mean it much. But these are sanctions aimed at banking, and they're aimed at the regime. Like the family cannot go shopping in Singapore. Singapore won't let them in or give them a beat. It's really biting. What did the trip accomplish? I think it accomplished three things. One, it exposed the North Korean government to Google and the internet. Eric Schmidt was the star of this trip. I was just another politician. They love the concept of the internet. The government and a select few only can have it. And they wanted to increase it and use Google with everybody, but you can't do that because there are sanctions. And what the North Korean government doesn't realize, if they open up Google and the internet, they're going to go down like those Arab Spring governments. But so a greater acceptance of the internet, a thirsting for it, was the second message. The third is there's an American detained there, and we raised his case as a Korean American who, I do that, a lot of that, even though I'm in the private sector. I worry about people that are held abroad, prisoners of conscience. And he was a case that his son contacted me. We didn't get him out, but we were assured of better treatment. And then third, we delivered a message which the North Koreans did not receive at the highest level because they were too busy meeting with Dennis Rodman, who got in to see Kim Jong Il. Is that bad? Well, I don't think so. I think I'm of the view that groups like yours, basketball, sports diplomacy, symphonies, scholars, can do a lot in our foreign policy. It's not just the business of officials and diplomats. But the worry that I have with this new young leader, he's 30 years old, is that he's being manipulated by the military and the hardliners, as opposed to the foreign ministry, which are more the softliners, the pragmatists. So did it accomplish much? Yeah, not much. It was modest. Nobody gets to North Korea. I'm a big fan of the Obama administration, but I do have some objection when we have countries like North Korea that have 6 nuclear weapons, 1.3 million men in arms, nuclear missiles, possibly at least a lot of missiles, landmines. We have 50,000 troops, American troops in the DMZ. And we don't talk to them. I mean, no one's talking to them. So I just think that some kind of diplomacy is needed. You can't just sanction and punish, even if they're unpredictable. That's my view in talking, but I have a very You call me a diplomat. I'm kind of a little non-traditional diplomat. I think we should talk to Cuba. I think the embargo makes no sense. Maybe Burma, you know, things are better there. Iran, no, that's another issue. I'm very concerned about what's happening. But anyway, that's so modest, but yes, it had some positive